How do you think the secondary is coming along?
I think we're coming along well. We've just been focusing, going to the meetings with Coach Howell, putting in extra work. Our main focus was tackling this year. So we really just been working on that, pushes. And how's been our main, we've been working on just tackling. And I feel like we've been coming along pretty well.
What's different about this spring in terms of learning the defense compared to, say, last year?
Compared to last year, it was a new defense. So basically we were, moving around, trying to figure out where to align. But I feel like more this year we're coming along. Got the alignments. It's just basically just working on fixing technical.
It seems like there's fewer guys out of place when we watch it, but we don't know your assignments. We don't know what you guys talk about in film review. Is that the kind of feedback that you guys get from your coaches?
Yeah, that is for the most part.
It feels like Coach Lee, like we'll hear him out here, and he mentions the bowl game goal a lot. Like, is there an uptick of that in terms of, like, a specific goal of you guys getting to there?
100%. That's definitely a goal, but we're really trying to get the championship. Like, that's the main goal for sure. But bowl game would be nice too.
Yeah, so I guess I know that you were playing through the injury last season. How good was it to finally kind of get back to yourself and be able to show what you were showing in fall camp?
It felt really good, having a group of guys around me supporting me, good training staff. It's always tragedy when you get hurt, but having those guys around you to support you, finding things to do while you're hurt, not just sitting around, getting your IQ better, learning about your teammates, really learning the plays and why you're doing what you're doing on each play. So, it felt really good to come back and have an impact on the team.
Do you think, have you seen improvement from Jadis Richard? It feels like, I know you're going up against him a decent amount. It feels like he's emerging.
Yeah, Jadis came in as a safety, stepped into the corner role, and every day he's just been getting better and better. And, he's just working on his craft every day. Iron sharpens iron, so we're just pushing each other to reach our highest limit.
What does it do for you guys to get most of your receivers from last year coming back?
It helps us build on our chemistry. Chemistry is one of the biggest things that we're pinpointing this year. So having chemistry with the quarterback and, guys who've been in the offense and continue to keep growing within the offense. So it's a big impact. It'll make a big impact.
What do you think of Cedric Alexander?
Love Cedric. He's been a pleasant surprise. Obviously, he's a second semester senior in high school, in college right now. So love what he brings to the group. He's a hard worker, learning how to work, learning how to be a college athlete, college student, and love where he's at in his progression. He continues to get better every day.
I guess in general, offensively, you guys have a decent amount of pieces coming back. Like, how do you think the continuity scheme too, is helping you guys?
Great. It starts with our offensive coordinator, Joey Lynch. Does a great job of getting us all together. It's a collaboration on what we're doing out here offensively. I think that we have the ability to be a big-time, well-balanced team. We don't have a couple of our pieces out here from a receiver standpoint. And then from a running back standpoint, we're still young, so we're still progressing. We get better every day. You start from the top. You start from Cheeks, Patrick Smith, to Chase Gillespie, to Seti, who we just talked about, to Dylan Betts-Polly, all the way to Zay Fontaine. So, those guys are playing off each other. We talk about just a brotherhood, true brotherhood in our backfield. So everybody has a different style, and we try to find ways to give a 1-2 punch to control the defense or change the pace. And so if we continue to do that and get stronger as a whole and continue to grow as a running back room, then we'll be able to help our offense in this balanced attack that we're trying to put together.
How do you go about evaluating the running back room when two guys aren't here yet?
You go with the guys that you have right now. You know what I'm saying? I actually meet with those two young men every Monday night, Monday and Wednesday. So getting them in on installs, just kind of building their mind for what they're going to get themselves into. And then obviously from an evaluation process, you have Seti here now. And he's a focal point in our backfield with those other guys. And then you kind of just look at those other two young men and see what they can bring to the table. And both of those guys are different. They're bigger backs. And so they're going to add that component of strong tackle-to-tackle runners. Both catch really well out of the backfield. And so once they get here, as long as they can pick up the installs and continue to grow, just like Seti's doing right now as a freshman, then there'll be a place for them as well. I try to give each one of those guys a role. They concentrate on their progression and where they are in that role. And then they understand that whatever they have to be for this team, whatever they have to be for this backfield, that's what they're going to be. There's no egos. We talk about the emotionless room when it comes to that, and we make it about our brother. So they'll fit in just nice.
Yeah. How have you liked the performance of the offensive line this spring?
Well, I think the offseason they worked really hard. Horrigan and his crew and the strength staff, and then they bought into some of the little detail things we were really focusing on. So they came to spring ball with a little bit of a hungry attitude. It's been fun to watch them. They go to work every day. I mean, it's who we are, and whether it's a good day or bad day, when that next day shows up, they start from scratch. And they know it's not going to be linear, but we're moving in the right direction right now.
Like, all of your first five played a lot of snaps last season. Does that change, like, what your kind of, I don't know, if priorities or whatever are in spring ball? Like, instead of teaching, or deciding who's going to be where, you just kind of, like, play football?
Yeah, I mean, you go back to our first year 2 years ago, Castillo had to play. We were out of people, true freshmen, probably not quite ready. I think we got 7 guys coming back who've started football games now. At the end of the year last year, Pitchford, Ketchick got in, and Ketchick was in both wins, starting guard. For his first 2 starts, the big SEC wins at the end. And, I think it creates competition. So that makes us better now. A guy who maybe's played a year in Hanson, going to be a good player, can't go to practice and it was just a bad day because there's somebody on his heels. And I think that's the healthy part in our room right now is it's competitive. And they are in a good way helping each other grow, but the competition has made the room better. And then our young guys have caught up to the standard pretty fast.
Yeah, I feel like Grayson and Levi came in as guys who were going to need to add weight, and it feels like they've started to do that. Where do you think they're at in their development?
They've done awesome. They're both right. They came in somewhere in that 260, 265 range when they showed up. They're hovering a little above 280 right now. And once again, Coach Horgan, his strength staff, Julia and Paige, the nutrition staff, our guys are on it, man. They're dialed in. They know what they got to do it in the right way. We're much more about body fat than we are body weight. And being really efficient, but both those guys, and you can see it showing up. That state wrestling champion Levi, the power's there, the hooper and the athleticism and Grayson is there right now, and so it's fun to watch them, especially if you can get them in next to the ones. It's a little calmer for them. With the twos, there's still a lot of guys learning things.
Do you want Leighton? I mean, he looks pretty good. Like, do you want him to get up higher weight wise, or since he doesn't have a lot of fat, you're cool with
He's
it?
doing great. I think the guy that might be playing the best football right now is Ashmore. And he's hovering right at the 300 mark. His body, if he gets bigger, slows down a little bit, and for him, he's at a great weight. So it's the same with Leighton, as he's a young guy, still putting on good lean mass. So he'll probably grow over his career. But he's about 305 right now, 302. Depending on the day and what he had for lunch, but he's carrying good weight to where he moves around right now well. He can handle his weight well.
How important is it to have different guys play different spots?
It's interesting. Part of their development plan is when they come in as a freshman, lock them into one. Mm-hmm. You got a group of 5, put them in a spot. You're learning cadences, you're learning calls by numbers and words, and learn one spot. And then we go into that first spring, I tell guys at that point, it's what your capacity to learn is. And so, certain guys, it's interesting how they all think. Some guys, if he's a right guard, does better playing right and left. Some guys, hey, I'm a left guard, well, I'm a better left. Just being on the left with play calls. It all depends on how they think and take things in. But it's really helped us. I think that's what pushed us through at the end last year and made the difference, is we had guys that were ready to play a couple positions. Yeah. And they all have an alternate spot now.
All right, let's go.
I think Will Shepherd has stood out when he's been on the field. What's been sort of the next step for him that he's been able to take?
I think for him, it's just focusing on the details. I think the other part of it is just taking advantage of every single rep that he gets. I think, a guy like him has a ton of experience. Every single year, you're looking to find ways to get better and to push that threshold and really to take your game to the next level. And I think a lot of it for him is going to come down to, just focusing on the details, understanding defenses, really understanding how teams are going to try to play him and how you need to attack them.
And, with a lot of your receivers being banged up, what kind of opportunities does that give to evaluate maybe some of the younger receivers?
It's been awesome. For me as a coach, obviously it's your job to develop the room. I think that when, you have guys that aren't available, that just allows for other guys to step up and get those opportunities. Specifically for us, it's like we got a group of young guys in our room that can benefit from that. And that's been exciting to see them actually get out there and get those reps. And it's been good to see.
Yeah, I guess along those lines, where do you think Davion Walker has caught up or improved since the fall?
Yeah, I mean, a guy like Davion, obviously, he flashes. He has good speed, and he does a lot of good things. But I think, for him, it's all about experience, and it's been good to see him step up and make some plays. There's still a ton of stuff that he has to work on. We were meeting last night about it, and he knows that. And I think for him, it's just like every single day, can I get better? I think that when every rep that he gets, he can learn from it. And that's been good for him.